What's up, guys? I'm super honored to be here. It's really a privilege to be here, sharing some information with you guys on how to generate endless leads by leveraging Instagram in specific. So my name is Andre Heichel Jr. Again, it is an honor to be here. And real quick, let me just introduce myself before we get into really the bulk of the content here. So I'm 21 years old. You might recognize me from Twitter. I say here I'm a Twitter guru, as a joke, obviously. But my background in business and in entrepreneurship is I wrote a best-selling book. I hosted a top 100 podcast where we did an interview in Gary Vee's office in New York City, right there in the bottom right corner, with my partner Christian and our friend Josh. I sold an agency business in 2020 and used the funds from that sale to start a new one just this year in 2021, where we actually do lead generation for B2B. So I'm very well versed in lead generation, and I have a lot of experience using Instagram to get leads. I also partnered with Cold Email Wizard, who again is another Twitter guru, on the Vault, which was a product for those in the lead generation space, which had a lot of success and a lot of great feedback on. And again, I guess you could consider me a Twitter guru. But anyways, enough about me. Let's get right into it. So before we actually get into the actionable strategies, well, let me rephrase it. This whole entire video is going to be very actionable. But I always got to make sure that the basics are understood of what actually drives successful lead generation. And it always starts with the basics. So there's really one golden rule of lead generation, and that is saying the right thing to the right person. If you say the right thing to the right person, I should also rephrase this. I should say saying the right thing to the right person at the right time. That's really what matters. It's those three things. So can you say the right thing to the right person at the right time? If those three things align and click, you're going to get interest, you're going to generate interest, drive sales, get new clients, make more money, and have a better life. Really, the whole goal of lead generation is to get those three things to align. So really what you're going to have to do is define your target market, which is basically the right person. So who are you actually reaching out to? That's your target market. Who are you targeting? And then you have to craft your offer, which is what you're saying or what you're offering, right? What are you saying to your target market? That is what we refer to as the offer. And then in terms of doing it and getting it at the right time, that's just a matter of consistency in the act of sending initial messages, but also following up diligently. So that's the golden rule. And then the other thing you need to know about lead generation is you have to test and tweak until success. You're not going to have success instantly. It's very rare. No matter how good you think your target market and offer is, it's very rare that in lead generation, the very first thing you try or test is going to have great success, which is why you're going to need to constantly test and tweak and try new things. And some of the easiest and best ways to do that is just by studying what other people in your industry, including competitors, are doing successfully and what's working for other people. But I have to say a caveat, because a lot of people take that as, oh, let me just go copy what other people are doing. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting to innovate, not copy. So innovate on what other people are doing. How can you do it better? How can you do it cheaper? How can you do it faster? And how can you differentiate, but at the same time accomplish the same thing? So those are really the basics of lead generation that I need you guys to have a firm understanding of before we continue. And again, really the biggest thing is saying the right thing to the right person at the right time. And that's the whole goal of doing outreach, essentially. So the first thing we have to do is define who the right person is, which in lead generation terms is an ICP, or an ideal client profile, or an ideal customer profile, depending on your type of business. So this is the definition in lead generation savvy terms of the right person. So saying the right thing to the right person is your ICP. So you have to ask yourself, if you want to define your ICP, I found that these questions are super helpful to do so. A few questions. What are some pain points that your ICP is currently dealing with? Like, what are they experiencing? Are they overweight? Are they struggling with relationships? Are they not making as much money as they want to be making? Are they lost, right? Are they looking to find their passion? Are they looking to whatever it is? What are their pain points? It might even be something very specific. Are they not generating enough leads for their business, right? Are they not making enough sales calls or closing enough sales calls? Are they not retaining clients or customers at a high enough rate? Are they not sending enough emails? Are they not getting enough buyers as a result of the emails that they're sending? Like, it could be very specific, and usually the more specific the better, especially when it comes to B2B business, right? If you're running a B2B business, if you're offering like agency type services and products and offerings, even if it's e-com, it's the same thing. Just try to get very specific with the pain points that your ICP is currently dealing with. The second question you want to ask yourself to better define your ICP is, what are some of the goals that they have for his or herself? Like, what do they want to accomplish? Do they want to increase revenue? Do they want to increase, do they want to get more sales appointments on their calendar? Do they want to get more customers for their product? Do they want to get more signups to their email newsletter? Do they want to get more people to buy their online course or enroll into their group coaching program? What are their goals? It could also be a lot bigger than that. Do they want to save more time or spend less time in the business so they could spend more time with their family? Do they want to start a family? Do they want to maybe start a business? Because right now they might be, working a 9-to-5. What are their goals that they have for themselves? Because basically this is going to help you to find these people, right? Because if they have a goal to start a business, then they're probably following the likes of Tony Robbins and Gary Vee and Lewis Howes and all these different people in the space. So just by understanding and answering these questions in a really clear way, you're going to be able to further dial in on who and where to find your ICP. The third question to ask yourself here is, what are some of their unmet needs? What are the unmet needs that your ICP has? And really the point of this question is to help you better define how you can meet those unmet needs, because that's really saying the right thing to the right person, is offering a solution to their unmet needs or filling a void in their unmet needs. That's really the beauty of crafting an offer. And to do that, you really need to define and understand what are some of the unmet needs of your ICP. You've probably heard this if you study sales or marketing, but really like the best sales strategy is to just understand your ideal client profile or ideal customer profile on a really deep level, to the point where you understand them better than they understand themselves. Because if you can do that, and if you can display that effectively in your messaging and or on a sales call, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to close those people or those prospects as paying customers and paying clients. So those are a few questions to ask yourself to better define your ICP. And really one litmus test to perform and to think of in the back of your mind before moving forward, which I call a make or break litmus test, is ask yourself, if I assigned you with the task to spend 3 hours to talk to 3 to 5 of your ideal client or ideal customer profiles, these are just people, so like 3 people that fit the criteria that you set out, where would you go to find them first off, and how would you do it, right? And one caveat, if this is difficult to do, if you don't have an immediate answer and plan of action to go about completing this task, then your ICP is not well defined, and you need to rethink some of these questions, right? Because you want to be able to have an ICP that's so well defined that you can go wherever you know that they're hiding or hanging out on the internet and find them. So like for me, in my agency, I target email marketing agency owners, and I could just type in LinkedIn email marketing agency owner, and thousands of results will show up. Or I could go on Facebook and I could find mastermind groups or support groups for people that run email marketing agencies, right? I have tons of different ways and solutions and ideas to actually go and find a handful of my ICPs, and that's exactly what you should be thinking of as well, is where can you find your ICP, because you need to first find them in order to directly communicate with them. So that's the next thing. Now, once you've defined your ICP, we want to be able to find them on Instagram, because the whole point of this video and of this course is to leverage Instagram to generate leads. So now that we know who our ICP is, how do we find them on Instagram? Well, the number one way to do that, from my experience, is to study your competitors. So who are other people in your industry that are targeting a similar ICP? You want to study these people, right? And what exactly do you want to study? Well, you want to ask yourself, who are their followers? Who's following them? What types of people? What types of accounts? Where are they located? How old are they? Are they girl or boy? What do they post about? What are their desires? What are their interests? What are they posting? What hashtags are they using? You want to know everything about their followers. And as an expert tip here, you could actually use the ScrapeGram software to scrape the followers of competitor accounts that you come up with. All right, so that's the first question. The second question is, what hashtags are they using, right? And again, expert tip, you can use ScrapeGram to scrape hashtags of certain hashtags that users are using. So what hashtags might they be using? And then a few other questions to ask here as bonus is, what type of content do they post? And this is like talking about your competitor. What type of content are your competitors posting? Because that'll help you to understand what your ICP resonates with and what they're looking for and what they engage with, right? That's the first question. The next question is how often do they post content? Like, how often does your ICP want to hear from you? Is another good trend to pick up on. Another great question is, what do they say in their bio? And the bio is super important because the bio is basically like, it should target and it should call out your ICP. Like, I help business owners achieve financial freedom in 90 days, or I help email marketing agencies fill their calendar with leads, or I help retired dads get into the best shape of their life. So the bio typically for your competitors and for successful influencers and business owners on Instagram is going to have a call out of some sort for their ICP that you want to take note of and try to replicate or take after, essentially. And then the next thing is, what links do they include? And then study those links. So if it links to their website, if it links to their YouTube or a podcast or a product, go through the website, look at the copy, look at the testimonials, look at the case studies, look at the offer, and really just get an understanding for what is working for each of your competitors and what is resonating with your ICP, because that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. To find your ICP on Instagram, the easiest and quickest way to do it is to make a list of people that are your competitors in your industry and just study everything on their Instagram page that we covered here on this slide. So those two slides really covered like ICP and saying something to the right person. That was making sure we're talking to the right person. Now, defining your offers is now on the topic of saying the right thing. So if we put the offer combined with the ICP, we're saying the right thing, which is the offer, to the right person, which is the ICP. So how do we define your offer? I've always found two formulas to really help and be effective in doing so. Because putting together an offer is not easy, but it is the most important thing that your business is going to revolve around. And these two frameworks are actually going to help you to like explain it in terms that people actually understand and can comprehend and click with right away. So basically, the first formula is the RMS formula. And I learned this from another guru, I guess you'd say, David Henry, I believe his name was. David Henry or Dan Henry, I think it was. He's one of the ClickFunnels guys that's super successful, runs a coaching program. I think he even runs like the website called getclients.com. So he's awesome at what he does. And he basically crafted this formula called the refined marketing statement to help explain to your ICP exactly what you do and to call them out. And this formula is very popular. It's used very frequently in Instagram bios and in Twitter bios and in websites and YouTube intros and bios. So you're probably pretty familiar with this, just not by definition. So the formula is as simple as I help X, which is your ICP. So I help business owners, but you probably want to get more defined with that. Like I help 20-year-old authors like myself, like me, or I help podcast hosts, right, achieve blank, which is what is the outcome, without blank by blank. So an example of this for my agency would be like I help email marketing agencies achieve or get basically a calendar full of sales calls without doing outreach by themselves by leveraging our lead generation systems. That was kind of crappy because I slapped it all together on the spot. to be honest, we don't even have an RMS formula that we've used recently, but that is the formula that you guys should be defining for yourselves. Is I help whoever it is you help achieve or get a certain result or outcome without, a pain point, like without spending the time or without spending the money or without whatever it is that the pain point is, right? That's why you come up with the pain points in the ICP slides, because you want them to be able to achieve or get something without those pain points, and then by whatever it is that you're doing, like by sending emails or by crafting different email scripts, or by putting in place an SEO strategy, or by redesigning their website. Whatever it is your service is, essentially, is what goes in that last slot. So that's the RMS formula. The QER formula is another great one that I like to use, which is just stands for quantifiable end result. And essentially the framework here is, if you purchase my offer, you are likely to achieve and then a quantifiable outcome. So for us, it's like, if you purchase our offer, you are likely to get 5 to 10 leads, booking calls on your calendar per month, right? So they know exactly what they're getting. They know exactly what they're paying for, and that helps them to put in a value and an associated value with whatever it is that you're trying to sell to them. So that's the QER formula. The last thing worth mentioning here is you have to differentiate to stand out, because if you're saying the same thing that everyone else is saying, you're gonna drown in the noise. So 2 questions to ask yourself here to help stand out and differentiate is, what makes your offer unique, and do you offer any guarantees? Because if you offer guarantees, that automatically makes your offer unique for the most part, if the guarantees are unique in themselves. But also, just what in general makes your offer unique? Is it cheaper than most? Do you get results faster than most? Do you just get better results, more results, different results? What makes your offer unique? Because that is really what is going to be the hooking point. Because you could have the best offer, but if 10 other people are also saying the same offer or selling the same offer to your ICP, how are you going to stand out? Why do they want to work with you instead of the guy next door that has 10 times the amount of followers, 10 times the amount of testimonials, and 10 times of a better website, and 10 times of a bigger marketing budget? So ask yourself, how can you differentiate, and how can you stand out? And what makes you unique? That's the next question. So next slide. So now let's put it all together. How do you sell your offer to your ICP on Instagram? Right? Because that is the whole point of this video. So really, all we're going to be doing on Instagram is leveraging direct messages. So the first step in leveraging direct messages is to create a list of prospects in your ICP. So just go through all the steps to define your ICP. Once you've done so, once you're browsing through some of your competitor pages and you found a few accounts that really, like to engage with your competitors, they comment on posts, they like posts, they buy products, whatever, make a list of 10 or 20 or even 100 of those prospect Instagram profiles and put them somewhere in like a spreadsheet that you could use to track your outreach, right? Now that you have those profiles, another expert tip is, before you even start outreach, go engage with those profiles. Follow their profile, like their recent posts, comment and engage on their recent posts before messaging. This is what I like to call like warming them up, because if they see someone message them, they might respond, but if they see someone message them and also in their notifications tab that same person followed them, liked some of their posts, commented on some of their posts, they're more warm to the idea of who you are and what you might want from them. For my experience, at least, using common sense. So once you have that list and once you've engaged with them, it is now time to slide in their DMs, just like you do with a female, or if you are a female with a male, right? You're going to slide in their DMs with a well-crafted script. So, I mean, honestly, like, outreach and lead generation is a lot like pickup, like just picking up girls or boys, whatever gender you are, whatever way you swing. It's a lot like that. It's like, how do you catch their attention? How do you make them an offer they can't refuse or they can't turn down? And really, it's just crafting a well-crafted script and testing until you get the results you want to see. So one framework that I like to use is keeping it really simple. I just wanted to reach out and ask X, Y, Z. Just wanted to reach out and ask if you're interested in getting more leads for your e-com email marketing agency, right? Or just wanted to reach out and ask where you're at in your fitness journey, or just wanted to reach out and ask if you're looking to lose 10 pounds in the next 90 days, or just wanted to reach out and ask if you're currently implementing an SEO strategy, or just wanted to reach out and ask when's the last time you updated your website. So you're just trying to engage them with a simple, what we call a one-question script. It's the one-question strategy script that works really well for our lead generation agency clients and for ourselves, because it's just a simple question. And most people, humans have like the natural tendency to answer unopened questions, or answer unanswered questions. Like, they don't want to leave an open question in their inbox because it almost feels like weird. Like, either they're going to delete it or they're going to answer the question, and that's really the goal. And another expert tip here is, before sending that quick question script, you might even want to think about personalizing the first sentence or just the first message in general. And really all that means is, like, it could be as simple as like, hey, Ashley, I loved your most recent post. It looked like you had a great time in Mexico with your boyfriend. Something like that. Or, hey, Ashley, your profile picture is super cute. Your cat, the cat in your profile picture is super cute. Or, hey, Ashley, I loved your bio. I thought it was well crafted, and I even took a chance to look at your website and thought you did a great job there as well. Like, keep up the great work. It's basically just looking at their profile and finding something to compliment them on. So look at their profile, look at their bio, look at the links in bio, and try to find something to genuinely compliment them on. And that's like part 2 of warming them up, to the point where they almost feel more obligated to answer your question and to engage with you further. So that's really the whole strategy. There's 2 kind of bonuses, I guess, which is to utilize selfie videos and audio messages to further stand out. So like, you could do the same thing by literally picking up your phone and doing an audio message on Instagram, or even a selfie video on Instagram. You'll have a lot of success in doing that, because not a lot of people do that, and just by human nature, like, people are more open and more excited to get a message that is in the audio form or video form, because they're so used to just getting text messages all throughout the day on all different channels. And then the second thing is to follow up until you get a reply. So even if they don't answer your first message, follow up. Say, hey, did you get my last message? Or, hey, just following up with this to see if you are interested in X, Y, Z. Just continue to follow up with more messages, and do it politely and professionally until you get a reply that you're looking for. And that reply usually is a yes or a no reply. So that's selling your offer to your ICP on Instagram. And then the last slide here is just some extra expert tips. And again, before I get into it, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity and the time to teach you guys a little bit of what I know, and just the success I've had on Instagram has been amazing. I've gotten clients using these strategies on Instagram just by sending a handful of messages like these, following all the different action items I've walked you guys through for 2 or 3 years now. And I've even used it in college when we were running a podcast. We got all the way up to a top 100 podcast, not because we're good at podcasting necessarily, but because we were able to get really big, well-known, famous guests on our podcast. And it was all rooted in our Instagram DM strategy, because we were really nobodies, but we were really good at reaching out on Instagram and staying persistent with our follow-ups. And you can do the same thing by just following everything I've laid out here for you today. So without further ado, more expert tips. So the first expert tip is to take an omni-channel approach. And omni-channel just means more channels in Instagram. So what you can do is leverage emails, right, and LinkedIn outreach using Scrapegram and Mailerize. So Scrapegram and Mailerize are 2 different software tools that you could use. Scrapegram is going to allow you to actually scrape more contact information of that list of prospects that you found on Instagram, like their email and their LinkedIn profile. And then Mailerize is going to help you to actually automate emails to be sent out to those lists of leads from Scrapegram. I highly recommend that approach, because even though you might find prospects on Instagram, they might not be very active on Instagram. They might be more active on email or LinkedIn, which is why if they don't actually respond on Instagram, chances are you have a better chance to get them to reply back to you if you try other channels of communication. And it's really easy to do that because the tools are out there and available to you at a really low cost. The second thing you want to do is stay organized and track your KPIs, because what's not tracked is not measured, and that can't ever be successful because you can't know what's causing success or what's causing failure. So basically, you just want to track who you send messages to and whether or not they respond. It's really that simple. So if you follow that first step in the last slide of putting together a list of prospects profiles in like a Google spreadsheet, you could just make another column that says like sent message 1, another column that says sent message 2, another column that says sent message 3, and then a column all the way at the end that says like replied ? So like basically you could send each of those prospects 3 messages over time until they reply. Like if they reply, you could check that box, and you know not to, like, you don't actually have to send any more follow-up messages to those prospects. So you could do something really lightweight and simple to make sure that you're tracking all the opportunities, because you don't want to reach out to a bunch of people and then not follow up with them because you just don't remember who you need to follow up with and when. Just track it. It's super simple, and you could do it in a really lightweight way with what I just mentioned. The third thing is the test and tweak. So we mentioned this in the very beginning, but I can't mention it enough, to be honest. So if you're not satisfied with the results, it's always going to come down to testing new messaging and testing new targeting, right? Saying the right thing, which is messaging, to the right people, which is targeting at the right time, which is just following up enough to get in front of them at the right time. So if it's not working, it's just because your messaging's off or your targeting's off or your timing's off. And if that's the case, just continue to test until all three of those things align. And when they align, it's the best feeling in the world. And it might take you one combination of testing, messaging, targeting, and timing, or it might take you 10, or it might take you 100. I don't know. It doesn't define you as a person and your skill set, in my opinion. It's just a matter of the market and how they respond and to what. And it's for you to basically solve that puzzle, right? And the last thing I want to mention here, like with anything in life and in business, to have success, you have to stay consistent. This isn't something that you can just do, one day and expect to see a lot of results and success from. You have to commit to a daily routine or a routine of some sort. I recommend, my number one recommendation is just to commit to a daily routine of 10 messages per day. So basically put all this together that I talked about, use all the tools that I mentioned, and every single day carve out 10 to 20 to 30 minutes of your time, whether it be in the morning or before you go to bed, to implement this strategy and to send 10 messages a day. If you do that for a long period of time, and it doesn't have to be that long, it could be a week or a few weeks or a month or a few months, you're going to be very satisfied with the results. And of course, more importantly, very satisfied with your decision to invest into this program and your time into this video. So hopefully this was helpful. This is what I consider like a masterclass on how to generate endless leads by leveraging Instagram. Again, my name is Andre Heichel. It has been an honor to be here with you guys today. And if you have any questions, I definitely would love to hear from you because this is the first time I'm doing something like this. And you can find me on Twitter at Andre Heichel Jr. Just type in my name, slide in my DMs, test out your framework and your scripting on me, see how it goes. But no, really, if you have any questions, if you need any support, or if you just want to connect and be friends, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, it's been an honor, and best of luck. Take care. Peace.